a new month and I'm here with 5 new book recommendations. So let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Flor and I post new videos every single week talking about content creation, talking about planning and productivity, talking about New York City here in the background, and of course talking about books. In this video, and as the title suggests, I am going to be talking about 5 new books that I read, 5 new books that I loved, and that I think you might like as well. If you like everything about book and book recommendations, I have uploaded 9 previous videos. Yes, 9. This is video number 10 when it comes to book recommendations, and in each of these videos, I talk about 5 books, so I have a total of 45 book reviews and book recommendations on my channel. If you haven't watched them, I suggest you go ahead, watch those videos if you're looking for more books. They will all be linked up here right now and also down below in the description box. So maybe you like some of the books in this video, but maybe you like some of the others in the previous 9 videos. Now, with that being said, let's get started with today's video and with today's 5 new book recommendations. The first book that I wanted to recommend is called The Last Letter from Your Lover by Jojo Moyes. I hope I'm pronouncing the author's name right, but if I'm not, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I think it's Jojo Moyes? I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's get on with the plot for this book. So this book takes place in 2 different timelines. First of all, it's the 1960s, and this woman, Jennifer, she wakes up in a hospital bed and she doesn't remember anything about her life, like how she got there, what happened, if she was in an accident. She doesn't even remember her husband, so everything is really foggy, really weird for her. Up until she finds a letter signed just by the letter B saying that she should leave her husband. Mystery. And then on the other hand, we have another timeline that is happening in the year 2003. We have a journalist, and this journalist discovers this exact letter signed by B asking Jennifer to leave her husband, and she is really determined to find out what happened. Did these 2 lovers meet each other? Did this love story have a good ending or not? She becomes really obsessed and starts like investigating everything that went down and whatever happened. So I think this book was really great. Honestly, one of my favorite reads of 2021. I am usually not a person that falls for love stories. I feel like when love stories are really obvious and really predictable, I don't like them, so I tend to steer away from romance in general. But this story, and I think in a way the same that happened with me with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it has something else. It's not just a love story, but it's something that has maybe a bit of mystery, or it has like a twist in the end, or something that makes you want to keep reading. At least that's my case. Maybe you love love stories, romance novels. That's perfect. Go ahead. It's just not my style. But this one I really like, and I highly suggest that you read the book and not watch the movie. I know Netflix did a movie last year, and personally I think it was a really bad adaptation. You know, I'm always one that goes for the books first and then the TV shows, then the movies. But I do have to admit that sometimes the TV shows and the movies are great adaptations. This one is so bad. I was so mad when I watched it, so angry, because I feel like the story has so many layers, it has depth, it has so many things happening and so many things going on, and it's not a simple love story, as I mentioned before, but it has so much more, and I feel like they simplified it in the movie and it's like a silly love story, and I hated it. So if you are in the hunt for something like romance with something else, I really highly suggest this book. I really liked it, and maybe don't watch the movie. You don't need to do that. The second book that I wanted to recommend is called They Wish They Were Us by Jessica Goodman. So this one is a young adult novel, a young adult thriller. So maybe if you're not into young adult that much, maybe this one is not for you. But I am into young adult. I like reading young adult thrillers and mystery, so I had to pick this one up. This is a story about a group of students. The main character is called Jill. Jill goes to a very expensive high school in a very nice neighborhood where everything seems like really perfect, really nice, but she knows life is not really like that because her best friend was killed when they were in their freshman year. And apparently her boyfriend killed her and the case was closed. Now Jill is in her senior year and she's determined to have the best year ever. She's part of a group, very selective, very exclusive, called the Players. Players are like the most popular kids in high school, and everything seems to be going okay up until she starts receiving texts saying that Graham, her best friend's boyfriend that is currently in jail for apparently murdering her, is innocent. Jill is like in between, like should she ignore this text and keep on going with her life, or should she find out what really happened? Of course, she finds out what really happened, otherwise you wouldn't have a book, but you get the idea. So I really like this book. I think this is Jessica Goodman's first book actually, and I think it's a great start. It's a great story. It has certain levels of mystery, of depth, great characters. You feel like you're in the story, so great build up. Highly recommend it. And since I really like that book, I decided to pick the next book by Jessica Goodman, which is my third recommendation. This one is called They'll Never Catch Us. This story is about two sisters, Stella and Ellie. They both do and compete in cross country for their school. They're very different. One is more single-minded, driven, keeps things to herself, and the other one, Ellie, is more fun. I mean, she does work out, she does cross country, but she also has some fun. Everything seems to be going okay in this weird balance that they have, because they do have a good relationship, but at the same time they compete against each other. They know they are each other's worst enemies in the sport. But a new girl comes into town, comes into their school, and this balance seems to be breaking and that things are not going to be okay moving forward. And then this girl, the new girl, disappears. So mystery again, something going on in this small town. And at first they look at the sisters as the main suspects because of course they are the ones that have something to lose if this girl that does good at cross country as well as they do starts being more popular and starts doing well in their sport. So I like this one. I didn't like it as much as I like her first book. I feel like this one is like a bit like far-fetched. I know it's a thriller and you sometimes have to make things work and solve the mystery in a way, but personally I didn't love the ending, but it's still a good book. I still recommend it, and I'm really looking forward to Jessica Goodman's new book, The Counselors, that I think it's coming out like next month or in 2 months. I'll probably be talking about that book in some video in the future. The fourth book that I have to recommend is called You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen McManus. I have already talked about books by Karen McManus. If you haven't watched those videos about those books, they will be linked up here right now if you want to go ahead and watch some of those videos and read some of those books. This one is a new and different story. This is about 3 friends, Ivy, Matteo, and Kyle. They used to be great friends when they were kids, but then they drifted apart and nowadays they don't really talk to each other anymore. Up until one day when, for some reason, the 3 of them decide to skip school together. And when skipping school, they end up being somehow like witnesses to a murder of a student of their own school. And things start getting worse and worse. And in a way, they all have some connection to this dead kid. And maybe in a way, some reason why they would not want him to be alive anymore. So I think this is a good mystery. I think the build-up up until the very end is good. Again, how the author finally solves the murder and the mystery, I didn't quite like it, and I think I found it similar to some other book that I've read, but that happens when you read a lot of mysteries, a lot of thrillers, especially YA. But I liked it nonetheless, and I like the books that Karen McManus writes, so I recommend this one. Go ahead and read it. And the fifth and last book that I have to recommend in today's video is called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schaaf. Wow, I need to talk about this book. So this one was one of the last books that I read in 2021, and it was my favorite book of the year. I loved it. I think that's similar to what happened to me with The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's a book that I've been hearing recommendations for a really long time, like a lot of people talking about this book, saying it's a good book, but when I read the plot, I thought, this is like too much romance for me, or too much fantasy in this case, and I'm like, I'm not picking it up. But then one day you decide to pick it up, as I did, and I loved it. I went crazy. I cried my eyes out. But hey, let's talk about what's the book about. So this book is about Addie LaRue. She's a young woman in France in the 1700s, and in a very desperate moment, she decides to make a pact with the devil, basically, in which she gets to have an infinite life, but no one will ever remember her face, her name, anything about her. So at first she really struggles with this, with not being remembered by her own family or people she used to know. And while this is hard at the beginning, she then realizes it has some benefits, some things that she can do, and then people won't remember that she took something or that she did something. She keeps on living life, 1700, 1800, 1900, the 2000s. So after around 300 years, Addie is living in New York, and one day she goes into a bookstore, and when she's trying to steal a book, which is something that she has realized she can do because no one remembers her, the person working at the bookstore is like, no, you're not taking that with you. Like, I saw you, I remember you. And she's like, what's going on? Like, no one has even remembered my face or anything I do for 300 years. And suddenly this one person remembers me? Mystery. No, but in reality, that is like the beginning of the book and how you try to start to see what's going on. So the book goes backward and forward. So at one time it's the 1700, and then it's the 2000, and then again 1750, and then 2000. And you start to see how Addie grew in a way, even though she's not aging because she's going to live forever. She grows in a way, learns new things, knows new places, new people, and how her way of seeing life, her way of seeing the people around her, the things that are happening in the world, how those keep changing, and how literally everything she once knew changes this time when someone finally remembers her. I usually don't go for books that have something of fantasy, because of course if you make a pact with the devil to live forever, that has something of like fantasy or I don't know, not reality. But this book was perfect. I loved it. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did in the end. I certainly did not think I was going to cry as much as I did. There's this like big revelation at one point, and I was like crying like crazy, and I really recommend it. You know, I've said like 100 times you have to read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and now I'm going to say like 100 times you have to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because it's a great book, an excellent book, and I don't give any books like 5 stars, but this one totally deserves them. And that is it for today's video. If you liked it, of course, go ahead, give it a like, leave a comment down below. Let me know which book you are reading right now. Let me know which one was your favorite book of 2021. And also, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Pereira, as you can see here. I am always posting new book reviews over there on my feed, but also on my stories. I am showing you what I'm reading at the moment, so you can maybe have like a heads up of the book that will be coming here on my YouTube channel. And if you like books, of course, you know about Goodreads. I am on Goodreads. You can follow me there as well. You can find me as Pereira as well. As I do every year, I have signed up for the reading challenge. I have been reading 24 books every year. I read 24 in 2020, 24 in 2021, and I'm trying to read 24 books as well this year. Let me know if you signed up for the challenge and how many books you are planning on reading in 2022. And of course, if you like this video and you want to see more of me, go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell to be notified of every time I upload a new video every single week. I will see you on the next one. Bye!